Am I the a-hole for wanting to break off my engagement? I, 17 male, have been very confused for a while now. I used to love my fiancée, Fiancée, from the bottom of my heart. She was my soulmate. But as of late, those feelings have been missing. I don't know what happened, but the love I once had for her is gone. At first, I thought that these feelings would come back eventually. But then I met a mysterious woman in red, whose appearance reminded me of Fiancée, but who carries herself with confidence and grace. Would it be wrong to break off my engagement? Hello there, I'm Murong Ishwan, the third prince of the Sun Glory country, and this situation is honestly stressing me out. I could really use some outside perspective because I'm not sure how to handle it. A little about me, as I said before, I'm the third prince of the Sun Glory country and also I'm a strong cultivator. I have an awkward relationship with my family, but the people of my country recognize me for being responsible, kind, and courageous. Generally, I'm the one who gets things done when no one else can be bothered. So, I'm not just sitting around doing nothing. Even in my childhood, I was stronger than my peers and my brothers in a lot of things. My specialty was rapid cultivation and I was, and still am, able to cultivate better than people around me. But being the third son of the emperor still made me have a socially weaker position than my brothers. I'm obviously not going to be the crown prince because of my birth, but I also am not a man to be taken lightly. Even among my brothers, I am secretly more qualified and stronger than the both of them. Although I can win any one-on-one fight with my brothers, for the most part, I choose to lose on purpose. This is how I keep the peace in my family. Yet, because of this, I am still not being taken seriously. And to make things worse, my dad, the emperor, isn't exactly the fairest or most ethical person around. Both he and my brothers are very greedy for power, and they get really jealous of anyone who might threaten their positions. I've never liked how obsessed they are with power. It's like they're willing to trample over anyone who gets in their way just to hold onto it. Naturally, my calm and reserved personality didn't sit well with them, so I ended up being the black sheep of the family. I have mostly been sidelined, stuck doing cultivation missions or chasing after an ancient beast that popped up in the country while they scheme for the throne. But it doesn't really matter to me. As long as I can help the people of my country, I am satisfied. Besides, politics was never my strong suit anyway. It eventually got pretty lonely growing up. I didn't really have much of a life outside of doing my duties as the third prince. That has been my whole identity, and it sucked. But luckily, I then became friends with Fiancée. She's the daughter of Fiancée, the crown's most trusted general, from the loyal Fiancée family. They're very close with the emperor because of their military connections, so Fiancée and I basically grew up together. We've been childhood friends for as long as I can remember, and we've literally spent almost every moment together. Honestly, it's safe to say we have a really deep bond, and we just get each other on a level that's hard to explain. Over time, our families definitely noticed how close we were, and eventually, we were officially betrothed. Honestly, it felt like it was only a matter of time before we'd get married. When we were kids, Fiancée loved watching the peach blossoms bloom, so we'd go to the Peach Blossom Monastery together every year to see them. It became our little tradition. We'd go, enjoy the blossoms, and promise each other that we'd come back the next year. This year, I promised to take her again in March, when they'd be in full bloom. But I honestly love everything about Fiancée, beautiful face, her kindness, the way she'd light up a room just by walking into it. I was willing to do anything for her. She was, and maybe still is, the love of my life. But as they say, all good things must come to an end. A few months ago, I found myself facing one of the hardest decisions ever. Fiancée started changing, but I couldn't really figure out why. On the surface, she was still the same beauty, grace, and charm, but I just had this gut feeling something was off. She wasn't the Fiancée I had always known. Her kindness felt a little reserved, and there was this strange superficial edge to her that hadn't been there before. It's going to sound rude, but she wasn't that warm, glowing person I'd fallen for. Instead, this new version of her felt oddly dark, materialistic, and honestly, kind of uninteresting. And as much as I hate to admit it, I just wasn't feeling that deep connection we used to have anymore. Maybe I was losing interest after all. But then, the weirdest thing happened. I was out and about one day, just grabbing a meal at one of the restaurants, when I saw this woman in the distance. She was wearing a red dress and had a veil covering the lower half of her face, and something just shifted inside me. Her aura, her walk, the way she carried herself, it all reminded me of the old Fiancée. Like, the real Fiancée. My Chinga. I couldn't help myself. I had to get a better look, so I went over to her right away. And the closer I got, the more I felt this weird pull toward her. My brain kept making me think it was her, like somehow this was the version of Chinga I'd been missing. But at the same time, I knew it was absurd because my actual fiancée was back at home with her father. What on earth is going on? Anyway, my suspicions kicked into high gear when I got closer to her. She wasn't exactly like the real phone Chinga who would never wear red dresses or carry herself with this unusual air of self-importance. But the gaze in her eyes, it was exactly like hers. It was the one thing that had been missing from the Chinga I'd been seeing these past few months. To test it, I just blurted out something about our little tradition of seeing the peach blossoms. And, funny enough, she actually looked shaken. Like she knew what I was talking about. Like she remembered our promise. But just as I was about to dig deeper, some guy came out of nowhere, stepped in, and took her away before I could get anything else out of her. So, tell me, am I the a-hole for thinking this mysterious woman in red is more like Phone Chinga than the real deal herself? Or am I just looking for reasons to break it off with Phone Chinga because I'm not in love with her anymore? What should I do? Update. Hello there, I'm still unsure about what exactly happened in front of the restaurant the other day, but I can't stop thinking about the mysterious woman in red. At the same time, I've been feeling more and more repulsed by my fiancé. Well, ex-fiancé now. Yes, I've had the engagement annulled. I couldn't make it fully official just yet because Chinga's grandfather, the old head of the phone clan, had gone missing. After he cultivated in seclusion. He wandered away. He'd been gone for a few days, and it was causing this whole situation and didn't want to cause stress to them. Though, I'll admit, the way I ended things with Chinga wasn't the most considerate. Instead of waiting for our formal family meeting, I decided to tell her directly. I just walked up to her and said that I wasn't in love anymore, and I've been unsure for a while now of how to tell her this. I told her I will always care for her deeply, but that I now see her as my sister. What I didn't tell her about was that the one thing that finally made me see the truth, that I wasn't in love anymore with her, was me meeting the mysterious woman in red. Her reaction? Honestly, it was what you'd expect from someone who's getting dumped. She begged me to reconsider, but I told her we'd be better off as friends. I wasn't about to drag this out any longer than it needed to be. The moment the elder phone came back, I went straight to Chinga's father and told him about my decision to end things. He wasn't happy either, but it had to be done. I didn't see any point in causing more drama or heartache for anyone involved, so I made sure the breakup was finalized as quickly as possible. Edit. I'm writing this edit to clarify what happened in front of the restaurant while I was on a date with Phone Chinga. I happened to see a familiar face, the guy I'd noticed with the mysterious red-cloaked woman earlier, standing at a nearby stall buying food. Feeling curious and wanting to greet him, I approached. After a bit of small talk, I casually asked if his sister was near. He immediately got a little defensive about the question. I explained that I wanted to apologize again, properly, for my previous encounter with her. However, he assured me it wasn't necessary. As our conversation continued, he suddenly realized that the woman was waiting for the food he had purchased, so he hurried over to a nearby carriage parked in the street. Naturally, I followed him, hoping to catch another glimpse of the mysterious woman. I introduced myself again, but this time, the guy, Guanxi Lin, stood firmly in my way, blocking me from seeing her. I admit I was being a little pushy at this point, but I was about to let it go when Phone Chinga unexpectedly joined the conversation. Things took a turn when she started demanding to see who was inside the carriage. That's when the mysterious woman spoke, and Phone Chinga's behavior shifted from aggressive to outright rude. She even slapped Guanxi Lin across the face, which caught me off guard. This whole situation left me feeling incredibly repulsed by Phone Chinga's actions. It was uncomfortable and unnecessary, and I'm still processing the way everything escalated so quickly. Second edit. The mysterious woman didn't just let Phone Chinga slap her brother. She got out of the carriage and slapped Phone Chinga back in the face. She then led her brother away from the scene, saying that we were people of no relevance to them. That part stung. Second update. Hello there, sorry for not giving you any update for so long. A lot has gone down and things are a complete mess right now. Everyone's panicking and no one knows what's happening anymore. The whole situation is just absurd. So, remember the mysterious woman in red I talked about in my previous update and the main post? The one who reminded me more of Phone Chinga than Chinga herself? Well, guess what? She is the real Phone Chinga. Apparently, Phone Chinga's companion, Su Ruoyun, the one she took in and basically treated like family, had been impersonating her all along. Some sort of jealousy over the difference in social status, I'm told. The mysterious woman in red, or better yet, the real Phone Chinga came back to the mansion with the elder Phone in suit, ready to reveal her true identity. It didn't take long before Su Ruoyan was exposed and, in front of the entire Feng clan, executed for impersonating the rightful daughter and heir of the family. Fengqinga had set up an even crueler punishment for her, but I really couldn't see her taint her hands with unnecessary bloodshed. So, I ended Su Ruoyan's life myself, using my cultivation technique to spare Qinga from the burden. So, here's where things stand right now. Feng clan is slowly trying to get back on its feet after the huge mess of having Su Ruoyan impersonate Fengqinga. Even Qinga's father, the head of the clan, is confused and embarrassed about letting some bum fool him into thinking she was his real daughter. Thankfully, things are settling back to normal, or as close to normal as they can be after such a wild situation. The real Fengqinga, the woman I love and was betrothed to, is back. I honestly hoped we could pick up where we left off and move forward with our relationship and future marriage. However, Fengqinga doesn't seem to share my sentiments anymore. She says she doesn't feel the same love and affection for me and is actually fine with the annulment of our engagement and would like to keep it that way. But guys, I can't do that. I spent months trying to sort out my feelings for her and now I've realized I'm still completely smitten. She may be a bit different from the old Fengqinga before she was impersonated, but she's stronger, prouder, and more grounded. Despite the months of separation, she's still the woman I've always loved. I can't let her go. I don't want to let her go. What should I do? How do I convince her to give me another chance?
Hello, it's Anima Wisdoms here. If you're curious, you can check out the videos from the other characters in this playlist here. It tells you everything from their point of view.